They say every great boxer has a legendary cornerman, and I've been very fortunate in my life to have some of those. One of my mentors and my dear friend, John Satch McDonald, who a lot of you people in Listowel will know, came to me with this idea of how we could keep my legacy going and keep these fundraisers going and keep doing the good that we've tried to do with our charity work here in Listowel. John came to me with the idea that we could start my own foundation that would allow my legacy to grow and continue to give long after I'm gone, and that idea really struck a chord with me. So we've decided to go forward, and we were presenting to you today the Chris Kerrs Foundation, which is going to raise lots of money for local charities here in Listowel. One of my other cornermen, we go back a long time, my dear friend Dan Williams. We were riding the bus going to school one day, and this other little brat, who I won't name, kept flicking the peak of my hat, and it would go over into the seat behind me, and then that person would throw it and I wouldn't get my hat. This went on for a couple days, and then finally Dan took care of it one day, which is what a good friend does. Dan was a big, imposing guy, and he set the record straight for these young chaps so they wouldn't bother me anymore. Dan came to me and said, "Kersey, you know, if you just wore your hat backwards, you wouldn't have to deal with this guy flicking your hat off on the bus all the time every time you go to school." Well, years later, Dan passed away in a tragic car accident. One of the ways I've always tried to honor him, and no one really knows this story, was I would always wear my hat backwards. I wanted our foundation to have a unique logo, something that would stand out, something that would really put us on the map. So when you see our logo and you see the gray hair in my beard and the hat on backwards, everyone will know it's a short little guy from the gym that's trying to do good. Over the last 10 or 12 years, we've been able to raise over $115,000 for charity because of the great people that reside here in Listowel and give so generously. Well, my hope is to carry that on forever. And I want to thank everyone watching this and everyone in the town of Listowel for your past support. And please keep cheering us on as we march down for years and years to come. Thank you.
Hey wrestling fans, it's Shawn from the Scumbags Wrestling. Have you checked out our latest t-shirt design? It's inspired by our friends over at London Comic Con. Nigel Lewis of NCL Studios came up with this amazing design of a comic book cover. It features 22 stars of the Ontario independent wrestling scene, including Cody Deaner, Jody Threat, Casey Spinelli, Tyson Dukes, Brent Banks, Tarek, Sebastian Suave, Halal Beefcake, graduates of the Tyson Dukes Wrestle Factory, and many more. You can get your t-shirt for just $30 or buy the poster for $15. Proceeds from this sale are going to go to Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto on behalf of Steven's Wrestling Journey. Steven's an 8-year-old fighting Chiari malformation, and they're searching for a cure. You can contact me either through our Facebook page, Scumbags Wrestling, or email me at scumbagswrestling@gmail.com. Get yourself a great t-shirt with an amazing design and help a wonderful cause at the same time. So contact me today and get your shirt or poster.
Time to Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the first official Fantasy Warfare tournament premiering on YouTube. You will see this on Wednesday, June the 17th at 6 p.m. My name is Chris Maloney from Thursday Night Throwdown, TNT, CWN Online, and all that stuff. Alongside Shawn Bates of the Scumbags of Wrestling. Shawn, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, not doing too bad. It's been a good weekend, good day out here in London, so ready for this special 4-week tournament that we're going to do.
4 week and 1 day.
True.
So you can see COVID is dying down, and in saying that, Shawn's no longer got the back of his hair. Yeah, he's a fresh haircut going on, so it's all good, and he's rocking the Scumbag stuff. So, guys, when this was presented to me, I was like, you know what? If we're gonna do 16 world champions, why not do 32? It got bumped up to 64, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, it got bumped into a 4-week tournament. Patreon is dead to us. Long live YouTube. So like I said, we're going to record this on Mondays. I'll launch it on YouTube on Wednesdays, so 2 days later. So you'll see the format take place. You'll see anywhere from 3 people to 5 people on the show any given week. Reason for it, because we need an odd number of votes to be able to advance. Some of the brackets are absolutely amazing. Even the ones tonight are absolutely amazing. So what I'm going to do is introduce everybody one by one. And then basically we'll do one more video to show the brackets tonight, and then voting starts. So guys, it should be interesting. So alongside us, of course, is the one and only Mr. Stephen O'Neill out of Toronto. Stephen, what's going on?
Not much. I think there's a riot out my window, but I'm not 100% sure right now. Can hear the cops with a speaker. So if you hear it, let me know. But it's the joys of living in downtown Toronto.
As long as you don't get raided, that's the main thing, eh?
I'm on the 4th floor. I'm good for a while. I'm in a secured building condo. They ain't getting in for a while.
All right. And from Toronto to Niagara Falls, Jonesy, you with us?
I am jealous that he has a riot happening outside his window. Can you move the camera that way?
If I start hearing it good, then yes, I will show everyone.
Excellent.
It can look like in a riot in Toronto.
This may be proper police footage, so we'll have to use it evidence right here. So we'll have to wait and see. But alongside of us as well, special guest tonight, Clarence Dusome of Midwestern Wrestling. Clarence, you with us?
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight?
We're good. Love the setup in the backdrop there. We're rocking the banner, of course.
Always got to represent.
So yes, thanks for being part of the show tonight. Shawn, what are you actually rocking tonight?
Today is some Mad Jack spiked root beer.
Which is you and your friggin' spiked root beer, dude. Anyways, guys, like I said, introductions are all done. So what we're gonna do right now, I'm gonna play one more video just to get the brackets underway. So sit back, relax just for a sec, and here is round 1 for us, otherwise known as the North bracket. So there you go, guys. You see the lineup, the matches for tonight. Clarence, I believe I sent you a picture of the graphic as well, eh?
Yep.
So you're well aware of the matchups there. So guys, I'm just going to go through the matches here, then we'll get underway. So first round, basically, like I said, of the North bracket, we got Chris Jericho taking on The Undertaker, Hiroshi Tanahashi taking on Edge, Harley Race taking on Kevin Owens, Rick Martel taking on Jerry Lawler, Kurt Hennig taking on Sergeant Slaughter, Bully Ray taking on Just Incredible, Sting taking on AJ Styles, and Diamond Dallas Page taking on Triple H. So some of these are going to be toughies. I think we've all got our first round picks, though, which is good. So basically what we're going to do is a roundtable style. So I'm going to start with Shawn, and then basically Steven, Jones, and then Clarence, and then basically next round will be Steven, Jones, and then so forth. But right now I'll be taking, basically keeping track of the scores as well, just to keep on top of it. So Shawn, we'll get you started though. First round, first match, Chris Jericho, Undertaker, North bracket. Here we go.
This is actually going to be one of the bigger matches, I think, of the whole tournament. Having it happen in first round, I made sure I had notes for this one for sure. So we start off with Chris Jericho. He debuted in 1990. He was trained by Stu Hart. He's the first AEW champion, beat The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin in the same night to become undisputed champion in WWE. He's won the ECW TV title, IWGP Intercontinental title, WCW Cruiserweight title 4 times, TV title once, WWE World 3 times, WCW World twice, WWE Intercontinental title 9 times, a 2-time U.S. champion. He's the 4th Grand Slam champ in WWE history, 9th for Triple Crown, 3-time Slammy Award winner. PWI accolades has him doing Feud of the Decade with HBK in 2000s, Feud of the Year in 2008 with Shawn Michaels, and Most Hated in 2002 and 2008. 42 various titles other than the ones that I just mentioned as well. And then you got The Undertaker. Debuted in 97. USWA champion. Texas champion, WCW tag team champion, world champ 3 times, WWF champ 4 times, hardcore champion 1 time, 6-time tag team champion, 12 Slammy Awards, comeback of the year for PWI in 2015, Feud of the Year in 91 with Warrior, match of the year with Mankind, Hell in a Cell, match of the year in 2009 and 10 with HBK, and 2012 match of the year with Triple H, all at WrestleMania. So they have huge careers. Tough to decide in this case who's going to have better championship reigns. But for myself, looking at all those accolades that everybody's had, Undertaker did not really need the title to be over. Chris Jericho, on the other hand, not necessarily needs the title, but he made titles look important. So with that, I'm picking Chris Jericho as my pick to advance in the first round. Send it over to Steven.
Well, after everything, I'm picking The Undertaker because I can't look at Chris Jericho the same. In the last 6 months, I cannot look at what he's done. I think it's hurt him. I think it's brought him down. I am not a fan of the stupid shit he's been doing. I think The Undertaker, yes, he doesn't have as many world championships, but his have been impactful. It's made the next star. Where Jericho needed the championship, Undertaker made the championship more important for the next guy. So I'm picking The Undertaker. To you, Jonesy.
Well, out of them all, for me, it's Jericho. Jericho is, this is a tournament, so The Undertaker is not going to make it past the second or third round. He's just not. So Jericho, in fact, I think he's the one to beat in all the 16 of these.
Clarence.
I gotta go with Steven up at the top there. I gotta go with The Undertaker. He hasn't won a lot of titles, but he's done it all with one company. He's still going. As much as you guys may not like some of the matches that he's producing, he's still going. He's been doing it longer, honestly doing it better than Chris Jericho. So I got to go with The Undertaker. Can I just say, thank you, Shawn. I did no research for this. So thank you, Library of Scumbags. But we're going with The
It's all
Undertaker.
good.
Scumbags librarian. That's a new one for you.
Yeah.
So, I'm the tiebreaker.
I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of these.
Yeah. So, first match, and I'm the tiebreaker already. So, I'll tell you this: when I think of the Undertaker, I think of the gimmick. I think of WrestleMania. I think of being able to do what he did at his size with any of the guys out there. You talk about. He was able to put on shows with Giant Gonzalez all the way down to Psycho Sid, all the way down to Shawn Michaels, to Bret Hart, to Kane, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Edge, one of Jimmy Corderas' favorite matches out there. But when I think of The Undertaker, obviously the championships come along with them. You know what I mean? The fact is, when you think of Chris Jericho, 2001 is when he won his first undisputed championship, the undisputed championship with the WWE. AEW, he wins the AEW championship 18 years later. To me, that is legacy. That is enormous. That is a guy who 18 years later is still winning championships, still carrying the company. And Jericho said it on his podcast this past Saturday night. He was saying that basically, even though wrestling's fake, and maybe cover your ears for that one, but the fact is, Jericho said when you win a championship and a company gives you that championship, it's like a badge of honor. It's like basically being a movie actor and winning an Oscar. And Jericho said with winning a championship, that's what it's like. It's carrying that company. It's basically you are that company. You are that face. You know what I mean? And Jericho has done that more times over than not. He's been able to put on good matches at WrestleMania with Edge. Shawn Michaels, Triple H. So the fact is, The Undertaker has a legacy, but the fact is it's not championship legacy. And going up against Chris Jericho, like I said, 18 years in between, 2001, 2019, Jericho's the winner. So sorry about that, Undertaker guys. So, Steven, from there, you're...
no!
Sound like a Paul Bearer thing right there. Steven, I'm curious about this because I think I'm one of the only ones to throw in Japanese wrestlers into this. So I'm curious on your take. But you're up next. Hiroshi Tanahashi taking on Edge. Who's your pick?
So this might actually surprise you who I'm picking. I'm picking Tanahashi. I'm a huge Tanahashi fan. As much as I shit on All Petite Wrestling every Thursday, it's only because it's what they're doing here, not what they've done in Japan. And Tanahashi has won the CML Universal Champion. He's been 8-time IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Let's just sink that in. 8 times. Not an important championship or anything. He was ranked number 3 in the top 500 singles wrestlers in 2013. Tanahashi has carried New Japan on his back off and on. So I'm picking Tanahashi. And does that surprise you, Chris?
No,
Where's Chris?
there was no. I think there was a question towards me. Yes, it actually does surprise me. So, Tanahashi won it over right now. Jonesy, your pick?
Both these guys are fairly equal. I think it would be a fantastic match to see, and it's actually possible at some point in time. There's only 3 years in age difference between the two. And yeah, Tanahashi has held the IWPG 8 times. That's a record. No one's held it that many times. So for me, it's a tournament, and I just love those New Japan guys. So Tanahashi for me.
All right, Clarence, you're up.
So if I vote for him, do you guys get to talk or no?
Yeah, we talked, but it's brief. So, but is that your vote?
No, I'm going the opposite way. I'm going with that just for the sheer fanboy in me. He is a great wrestler. He is a great all-around person, human being. When he wins the titles, it means something. Not saying that the other guy doesn't, but the way he's won the title, and then the last time when he had to give that title up, like when he had just everything that revolves around Edge makes you just get sucked in that little bit more. I'm going full-fledged with Edge.
So, Shawn, as we've said in the show before, unfortunately your vote will not matter. But I had to go Tanahashi with this one. I agree with Clarence, and as I'm doing this right now, they're showing the clip from last Monday with Edge and Christian on Monday Night Raw here. But fact is, when I think of Tanahashi, he basically saved that company pretty much from going under because of the fact he had guys to work with. He knew how to work with those guys, and he, at his age, I mean, he's 76, so he's 43 years old right now. The fact is, he has carried himself like a champion. He has stayed in shape like a champion. He can put on matches with pretty much anybody. Right before COVID happened, he was teaming with Kota Ibushi, who's up there in age as well. But the fact is, Tanahashi is one of those guys, when you look back in the day, really advanced himself to become championship stature. You know, his matches with Tetsuya Naito as well as Okada, stand out as some of the best. He was, Jericho had said himself that Tanahashi was one of those guys he wanted to work with over there in Japan. But I respect Edge. I respect everything he had done. As Clarence had said, I felt bad with the way that he had to hand in that last championship. The way he won the championships, yes, I 100% agree with, because the fact is, Edge made Money in the Bank what it was, that briefcase, you know what I mean? But the fact is, putting him up against Tanahashi, it was tough. So, Tanahashi for the win. Shawn, curious where you're going to go with this.
Looking at it, it was going to actually be a tough decision, seeing all the accolades that Tanahashi had. Or still can have, for that matter. Just sentimental value, I was going to go with Edge. I saw him when he was here, part of the Hart School of Wrestling at the Western Fair. Him, Sexton Hurdcastle with Christian Cage, and they were going against each other because the tag team that they were supposed to go against didn't show up. I saw them in Toronto when they first got signed. I was like, hey, you guys were just in London, and talked to them in the lobby of the Sky Dome. Saw him get his first Intercontinental title from Jeff Jarrett at the Sky Dome as well. And everything that built up from there when he finally cracked that ceiling and cashed in his Money in the Bank at New Year's Revolution. And the skyrocket that happened from there. He definitely, I could have seen moving on to the next round, but I also respect the thoughts of Tanahashi moving on as well.
So your official pick was Edge?
Edge.
All right. So we go to Jonesy next. And Jonesy, you've got a tough matchup from what I can say here is Harley Race taking on Kevin Owens.
These would be like two little bulls going at it. Race is a 9-time world champ. He's the first NWA champ. He is one of 6 to be in a crap load of Hall of Fames: WWE, NWA, WCW, PHW. The list goes on with this guy. Even when he wasn't wrestling too well, he was crowned king. I mean, he is obviously a legend. Kevin Owens, he could be a legend in the making. He's a great wrestler. He can wrestle anybody. He started at the age of 16. He's a ZZW Iron Man champ. And those that don't follow ZZW, to be an Iron Man champ, you got to be damn tough. And he's won tons of championships in indies. He's number 3 on the PWI list in 2017. But for me, again, it's a tournament. Race would outwork him. So for me, it's Race all the way.
All right, Clarence, your pick between Kevin Owens and Harley Race?
See, he had me. I was going to pick Harley Race, and then he started going over all the accolades of Kevin Owens. And he swerved me. I've got to go Kevin Owens. For how much he's done on the indies and coming up to where he is now.
But he's not a 9-time NWA champion.
for how old he is and for everything he's accomplished, I got to go with Kevin Owens. I was picking Harley Race though at the beginning.
All right, so Steven, you could be the tiebreaker because my vote's Harley Race, simply because of the fact we haven't seen the career yet of Kevin Owens complete. I do believe there's a lot more left in the tank. Whether or not it's with WWE, I don't know. The fact is he's passionate. He loves the business, and I don't think the Universal Championship is the last championship he's ever going to win as far as world titles go. Harley Race. Fact is, how do you beat that? How do you beat that legacy? There's a few guys out there that can possibly do it. Whether or not we see a match up again, that's them, I don't know. But the fact is, match of the year against Ric Flair, his first NWA championship, I believe was 1978, but I could be wrong about that. But match of the year 1973, match of the year 1979, match of the year 83. Those three match of the years: Dory Funk Jr., Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair. Three of the all-time best. I think all three of those guys are in this tournament as well. The fact is, Harley Race, when you see a guy like Nick Aldis, who's current NWA championship, basically win that title and say Harley Race is one of the greatest champions ever. It's hands down, yeah. Kevin Owens, I love the guy, but Harley Race, hands down. So, Shawn, I'm curious to see where you go and whether or not Steven's going to tie break this.
Steven will be the tiebreaker. I just think there's two different styles between these two. Different generations, but if they had ever clashed in real life, it would have been, as Jonesy said, a battle of bulls going on. But it was, once again, different eras and different styles of wrestling. And I think everything that Owens does would outdo what Harley Race would bring to the ring. And Kevin Owens has still a huge future in his sights, and whether it is with WWE still, who knows? But yeah, I'm going Kevin Owens.
All right, Steven, for the win, who's it going to be?
Well, if you've followed us on any of these episodes, you should guess who I'm going with. It's going to be Harley Race. He has won, the NWA Georgia Heavyweight Champion. You notice a pattern, a lot of NWA Heavyweight, Mid-America Heavyweight Champion twice. He's been the Florida Southern Heavyweight Champion. He's been NWA Central State Heavyweight Champion. He's won the NWA United National Championship over in All Japan. He's Harley fucking Race. So how do you not put Harley Race over Kevin Owens? So it's Harley Race.
I love that analogy, though.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah. All right, Clarence, you're up next. Rick Martel, Jerry the King Lawler. Who's the winner here?
Oh, I jumped one too many. I was thinking we were doing the next one. I like Rick Martel. I can't see him before the model. Jerry Lawler, everything from the Andy Kaufman to, he had a territory, so of course he's gonna have the belt. He's never won anything really in WWE, WWF, or WCW, or any of the other promotions that he didn't own. I'm gonna go with Jerry Lawler, just to kind of stir it up, because I know you guys have all done your homework, and you're all gonna shit on me now because you all have notes.
So here's something for you. So when I think Martel, same sort of wavelength as you. The fact is, he didn't strike a chord with me until WWF. And it was Strikeforce. It was the Model Martel. You know what I mean? He was AWA champion, but he wasn't. It made him big. It made him PWI famous for the covers and stuff like that. But nothing stood out to me. And I was a kid back then, but nothing stood out to me as far as legacy and longevity of Rick Martel went as AWA champion. To me, Jerry the King Lawler, and we've had this discussion on this show. It's hard. And at the last show we did, the King of Kings, Fact is, the legacy that he has, and Steven, I think, put it best last show. 40 years of doing what he's doing, you know, and even though it hasn't been main stage WB or WCW for that matter, the fact is Jerry the King Lawler has maintained his stature as one of the greatest world champions, as far as I'm concerned, in North America, just for the fact that he's remained relevant every generation that's gone by. So King Lawler is my vote as well. So 2-0 right now. Shawn, who's your pick?
Well, just to recap some of Rick Martel, though, I did pick him for being in this tournament. Debuted in 93, debuted in 73, not 93, retired in 98. I picked him because he was AWA champion, but he also was a multi-time tag team champion with Tom Zank and Tito Santana, Lenny Hoist in Stampede, Piper. So he had a lot of tag team gold, but definitely the reason why he's in this for the AWA championship. But because of the luck of the draw, he got Jerry the King Lawler. And regardless of him owning his own territory and being the 58-time champion in USWA or Memphis Wrestling and 58-time champion in AWA Southern title, he did win the AWA world title as well. And that he had tons of other titles around the area as well over the years. 5-time Slammy Award winner, Hall of Fame in 2007, which I was at in Detroit when he got in there. So, yeah, Jerry the King Lawler is advancing. Rick Martel, bad luck of the draw.
Steven, do we even ask? Because I'm pretty sure I know where your vote's going.
104 world championships. Jerry Lawler.
So, Jones, are you the only guy who's going to vote for Rick Martel, or are you going King Lawler as well?
Oh, I thought Shawn voted for him.
No, but if you had to, no, Shawn voted King.
I selected Martel to be. I selected Martel to be in the tournament, but he's lost.
Yeah, for me, it was Rick Martel. Yes, Jerry Lawler has won tons. He has, but it's all small potatoes. For me, it's small potatoes that he's won. If it was as far as commentating, presence and stuff like that, yeah, Jerry Lawler. But when it comes to wrestling, I much rather watch a Rick Martel match over a Jerry Lawler match. Personally, Jerry Lawler's a boring wrestler. He doesn't have that many moves. He's great at selling. He's great at putting guys over. But as far as wrestling matches, I have no desire to watch a King match. Rick Martel, that's why they got him to go against Razor Ramon, I believe it was, when the IC belt was up for grabs. They had to give it to someone that people would go, oh yeah, he could hold it, but he's never going to hold it. He was with WWF for many years, won tag team championships with more than just Strikeforce. He's done a lot. For me, I understand why people will go Lawler, but if I want an actual entertaining tournament, I'd be going Martel, because Jerry Lawler, again, not only, even if let's say they're exciting matches, there wasn't longevity with Lawler. As far as he wouldn't do 4 matches. Yes, he could wrestle an hour, but as far as 4 separate matches, no. For me, it's Martel.
All right, very good. Jones, unfortunately, I voted 4-1, but Steven's shaking his head up there. But I think I skipped you. So
why are you shaking your head?
Anyways, but
Jerry
I think
Lawler's crime. Oh my God, watch it on YouTube. It's
still
amazing.
boring.
All right, to each their own. Jones, I think, like I said, I accidentally.
How about this? I will look for a Martel versus Lawler match and just
hold on to your thought. We got some more AWA to talk about here, so you're up first. Even though you got the last word in the last one, Kurt Hennig and Sergeant Slaughter. Jones, who's your pick?
For those two, let's see. I got to flip the page. Well, Kurt Hennig, he 373 days he held the AWA. He's the 7th longest champ. He's also AWA Tag Champ. He's one of the best, according to many, including Hogan. WCW Tag Champ, IC Champ with WWF. It goes on. He's won many tournaments in his career, and then the Mr. Perfect character. I mean, yeah, I can see this guy in a tournament. He's been in tournaments before. He's won some. He's lost some. And then you got Slaughter. To me, it's Slaughter. As far as, again, if you're booking a tournament, I think more people are going to come to see the Sarge than they are going to see Mr. Perfect. And especially as far as icon things on a poster, Sergeant Slaughter, Mr. Perfect. No, you can do a lot more with Sergeant Slaughter. AWA champ, and he's had tons of NWA titles. He, unlike Perfect, actually won a WWF championship and didn't just smash it into bits like a little baby. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's a freaking G.I. Joe character. And actually, I learned there's other G.I. Joe characters. Roddy Piper had a G.I. Joe character, and there was a couple others I can't remember right now. And Slaughter was great as a baby face. He was so close to being as popular as Hogan back in the day. And then as a heel, to me, he's one of the best bad guys ever. So me, it's Sergeant Slaughter.
All right, Clarence.
Maple Leaf Wrestling. Sergeant Slaughter held their title. Toronto company, bought by WWE, but just that right there. That company itself, that holds dear to me. My mom's best friend is a tunny, and like instrumental in me actually wanting to watch wrestling back in the old gardens, and like he won that belt. He's my pick. Every bracket in the tournament.
Well, there we go. Some interesting facts from Clarence there. Tell you this, Shawn, Steven, your vote does not matter. 3-0 for Slaughter at this point. Reason for it is simply this: the fact is when Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig came to WWE, how many championships did he win? As far as main level world championships go, it doesn't matter if he had feuds. Fact is, he never won the big one. He won at the WCW, never won the big one. I think he was part of Impact Wrestling as well. Never won the NWA Championship while he was over there. So the fact is, Slaughter, longevity-wise, and the fact is AWA World Champion as well as WWF World Champion, and that huge feud with Hogan and the Warrior thing at Royal Rumble. The fact is, yeah, Slaughter 3-0. Shawn, curious to see who you're going to pick.
Well, much like how you just said, he didn't win the big one, unfortunately. He was like we just mentioned with Martel and Lawler, a former AWA champion. Second generation, definitely has legacy. I think even though he didn't win the big one, he didn't need the big one either at the same time. And he was considered such a great talent to help put over people like Hogan, who needed somebody to be that bumping machine for him. And that's what Hennig brought to the dance. But even though Slaughter's title reign only lasted from the Royal Rumble to WrestleMania 7, he created such heat that there was even death threats to him and his family. They had to take cover, and just a lot of bodyguards to protect that. Some say lack of ticket sales for the Coliseum was one of the reasons why they moved to the LA Sports Arena, now the Staples Center, for WrestleMania 7. But it's also more of a safe place to be as well than that open stadium with the Forum in LA. But Slaughter definitely was huge all over the place. AWA as well, even the AWF. So I'm going with Slaughter.
AWF.
All right, Steven, who's your pick?
My pick was actually Kurt Hennig. He did win an NWA World Championship, the NWA Pacific Northwest Heavyweight Championship. He also won the World Wrestling Council in Puerto Rico World Heavyweight Championship. To me, he'd be what I would want in a world champion. He could do it all. He could go in the ring. He'd talk on the mic. I'm not a big Sergeant Slaughter fan, but I'm outvoted, so it's 4-1.
All right. From there, I get first pick on this one: Bully Ray versus Just Incredible. Not a lot of thought went into this one by me, but the fact is, when I think of Bully Ray, I think of the fact he was part of the Dudley Boys, ECW, WWF, WWE, and then all of a sudden tried to transition into a singles wrestler. Never really did work out for him. When the Raw and SmackDown, split, tag team I think with Spike Dudley, but nothing ever really took off for Bubba Ray Dudley. Next thing you know, him and Devon, the whole story of, them leaving the WWE, ends up Impact Wrestling, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, changes his character tremendously to the point he's winning the World Championship, leads Aces and Eights, you know what I mean? Then heads to ROH and becomes, somebody substantial and over in that promotion. So the fact is, he made himself come out of that, tag team that he was known for into a singles wrestler. Not as great as Shawn Michaels, but still to the point that when you say Bubba Ray Dudley and you say Bully Ray, you don't think of the same guy. You think of two separate entities. So I'm going to say this, Just Incredible, I know ECW, but the fact is he was champion because a lot of the guys had left and they weren't exactly sure what to do. That's my viewpoint. But like I said, Bully Ray went to Impact Wrestling, went to ROH, said, enough's enough. I'm going to establish myself. And that was it. So Bully Ray for the win for me. Shawn, who's your pick?
I also was going to go with Bully Ray. Just so many things to put to his credit beyond just the world title that he picked up at TNA 2 times for that. He's also a TNA Hall of Famer, WWE Hall of Famer, 8-time ECW Tag Team Champion, 10-time Hardcore Champion, 9-time WWE Tag, 1-time WCW, but that was under WWE banner itself. PWI-wise, he got Match of the Year with the Dudley Boys twice at WrestleMania 2000 and WrestleMania 17. Tag Team of the Year 2001 2009, but he ranked number 4 in PWI 500 as a singles competitor in 2013. Not the same can be said about Just Incredible. He made it as far as number 6, mind you, in the year 2000, but 2000 was kind of weak when you're looking at the roster of ECW. He was trained by Lance Storm, debuted in 92. We saw him with the jockstrap on his face as Aldo Montoya, PJ Walker, and everything that way. 1-time ECW world title. Even comparing world titles, 2 for Bully Ray, only 1 for Just Incredible. I'm going Bully Ray.
All right, Steven, advancing as of yet, or are we gonna keep this going?
I'm gonna go with what we like to call an impact player, because I think Bully Ray, Bubba Ray, yes, he won 2 world championships, but they're in TNA, so they don't really count. Because, he led Aces and Eights. Oh, we should all worship at his feet with the TNA booking. Just Incredible has won the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. Woo! Hey, I would much rather have an ECW championship than a TNA. He's won multiple world championships all over the USA and into Australia, the World Wrestling Organization. He is someone who you could actually count on, because if Bully Ray doesn't go to TNA, he never becomes a world champion. Never. ECW didn't give him a chance because no one saw anything in him. The only reason TNA gave him the championship because they were like, well, what else do we have to lose? So I'm picking Just Incredible.
So Jones, even though you look like Just Incredible, and you also got the Austin thing going on too. Just Incredible, or are we going Bully Ray?
Well, Just Incredible did rank number 6 in PWI's 500 in 2000. Interesting little fact there. Yeah, for me, it's Bully Ray. Actually, his feud as the Aces and Eights and that was what did it for me. I wish that when he returned to the WWE, they would have seen that, yeah, this guy is actual good championship material as far as that bad guy. The problem is with him is if he doesn't have free reign to do what he needs to do in that ring and on that mic especially, you've got a Just Incredible, okay? Not worth anything. To me, Just Incredible, he only got the championship because they were pretty thin at that time. And as far as the Dudley Boys, personally, I think they're the number 1 tag team of all time. A lot of people don't know they held the IWPG not once but twice. A lot of tag teams never have held them twice from North America. Bully Ray.
All right, so 3-1 Bully Ray's advance. And Clarence, who would have you voted for?
I would have first off asked why Just Incredible was even on the list. Personally, I mean,
I agree.
He wrestled in ECW when ECW wasn't very good. Like, he might as well have wrestled in the WWE format of ECW. Bully Ray, all the way. He's so versatile. He can go from the speech impediment guy from ECW to the hard-nosed tables guy in WWE to break apart and become the Aces and Eights. Like that, he's versatile. He married Brooke Hogan. Like, what more do you want? Just Incredible he won an ECW title, wore a jockstrap for a bit, and now celebrates 20 people in a room, and like, I don't even know why he's there.
All right, so easy one there, 4-1 for Bully Ray. Shawn, one of the toughest ones, first round taking place next. The phenomenal AJ Styles taking on the one and only Sting. Curious where people's thoughts are with this. So Shawn, you're up first.
Yeah, I actually wasn't planning on this one because number 6 was the last match that we had, so somehow we got messed up in our order. But
off a bit.
Yeah, we switched some things around, I guess. But hey, you got Sting. He debuted in '85, retired in 2016. NWA TV champion one time, NWA World one time, WCW US 2-time, WCW World 6 times, TNA World 4 times. Battle Bowl winner in 1991, got the ring. 3-time Triple Crown, third Triple Crown champion in WCW history. In PWI, he got Comeback of the Year in 06, 11, and 14. Match of the Year in 91. Most Improved in 88. Most Popular in 91, 92, 94, 97. TNA Hall of Fame in 2012. WWE Hall of Fame in 2016. And a 2-time Slammy Award winner. So now you're going against AJ Styles, debuted in 98. Kind of relatively unknown in the dying days of WCW. Made it big in TNA, obviously, for the best. And just trying to get to some of his accolades. NWA World Heavyweight Champion 3 times. NWA Tag Team Champion 4 times. Legends Global TV title, whatever they want to call it that week in TNA, was 2 times. TNA World Champion 2 times. X Division Champion 6. The first TNA Triple Crown winner. And then you go over to WWE, where he's won the WWE Championship 2 times. Intercontinental title now once as of this past Friday. U.S. Championship 3 times, and Intercontinental title tournament he won, as I said, just the other day. He still has a lot of room to grow, I think, even though he is in the twilight, actually, of his career. So, oxymoron, what I just said. But there's still a lot of room in WWE for him to keep on picking up titles before he does hang it up. We saw what Sting had to hang it up after that buckle bomb, and it's always been questionable whether he could come back for a match. He's almost sitting by the phone waiting, but not actively pursuing it. So who knows if we'll get a Sting versus Undertaker match in the cinematic style. But Sting, everybody had high hopes for him, and that's why they held off giving Luger the title until he came back from a knee injury and could take it off of Ric Flair. Everything else that built after Flair dropped the title for him, that's why I'm saying Sting moves on to the next round.
A lot of facts there. Steven, you're next.
Well, Shawn missed one about AJ Styles. He's a 2-time IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. That itself outweighs, because AJ Styles and Sting pretty close in all the other everything else, but the winning of the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, not once, not twice, makes me lean towards AJ Styles, who's my pick. He's also an ROH Pure Wrestling champion. He's won world championships wherever he's gone. So I'm picking AJ Styles.
So 1-1 so far, Jonesy.
Well, if I was a booker, I would book Sting as far as name-wise. But AJ Styles, again, New Japan. He's done just as much as Sting has in a shorter period of time. Mind you, Sting is a friend of RoboCop, so if he needed that extra help, he could get it. But again, I'm going by tournament style. I'd rather see 4 AJ matches than 1 Sting match. I do like Sting, but I don't love Sting. AJ Styles is just more entertaining to watch in the ring, period. So AJ Styles.
Clarence, Sting, or AJ? And it's interesting, Jones, to put that promoter aspect in there.
As a promoter, I would book Sting all day long from back in the Crow against Hollywood kind of era. I mean, nowadays, AJ Styles is a phenomenal athlete. But when you think of the two, you've got to think of the WCW days. Just take away WWE with Sting, because that was really nothing. WCW, Sting, all the way. That's my pick.
So 2-2 right now.
Break the tie.
Could be the second time I've had to do this kind of with a tough match. So I agree with Clarence. WWE, forget about Sting. WCW, he was it. Him and Ric Flair. I mean, those were the two guys. You had Hulk Hogan, Savage, all the NWO, all this sort of stuff. But when you think of legacy, go ahead, Clarence.
He never left. He stayed till the very last taping, and then he didn't sign with WWE.
Yeah, and when you think about who he fought on that very last WCW match, you know what I mean? It was the same guy who put him over originally. You know, back to that, what was it, the Clash of the Champions match, I think that began that feud. So there's some history there for you guys, all the way to 2001 where WCW ended. So when you think about Sting, you think WCW, you think NWA, you think Lex Luger, you think of the Crow gimmick, you think about Hollywood Hulk Hogan, and I think it was Starrcade or Halloween Havoc, one of the two. But in saying that, Sting to me, one-dimensional. was loyal, branded to WCW, NWA, and that was that. When you think of AJ Styles, you think of the legacy he has built not only with Impact Wrestling, but ROH. And you saw that this past Friday night against a match against Daniel Bryan and the way that they can still go. To the Undertaker's match that he performed at WrestleMania. But the fact is, when you think AJ Styles, I'll keep it short here, ROH, Impact Wrestling, WWE champion, who nobody knew how he's going to turn out in WWE, and the wild card, so to speak, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship of the World, Bullet Club, New Japan Pro Wrestling, AJ Styles, and I think Steven said this, no matter where he goes, he's a superstar. He, isn't the tallest guy in the world, but the fact is he's got the greatest amount of heart, and he can adapt to pretty much any style and anybody in front of him. So I got to go AJ Styles with this one. So fortunately, Sting is out first round. AJ is in. Clarence shaking his head. It's tough because, like I said, Sting is WCW.
That is the greatest bracket of this round.
Yeah, but it's again, AJ Styles, like I said, more versatile. So last match of the first round, and Steven, you are up first. And this is tough because you've got two guys, when you talk about the journeymen, the faces of the companies, the guys who nobody really gave a shit about, and then all of a sudden they made their names. You got one guy on WCW, the other guy on WWE, and they just went with it. And the highlights, the war itself that took place, right down deep into the trenches, so to speak. Triple H showing up at WCW Nitro with the tank, and DDP, just never thinking he's going to become a world champion to what he name-wise. Anyways, I'm rambling on, but the fact is a tough match as well. So DDP, Triple H, first round. Steven?
This is a super tough one because I've gone back and forth on this one since we got the brackets a week ago. So DDP, he's a 3-time world heavyweight champion in WCW. He's the 4th WCW Triple Crown winner. And I don't really consider what he did in WWE because, as a lot of WCW guys, it wasn't good. Now, Triple H, 5-time world heavyweight champion, a 9-time WWF, WWE world heavyweight champion. I'm going Triple H only because I never saw DDP as a world champion. I always thought he was not my cup of tea. I just didn't see him as a world champion. But if you think of Triple H, you automatically think King of Kings, world champion, always in that picture. I'm going Triple H.
I was never a fan of Triple H until, I'd say, near the end of his regular career. And he's always best as a bad guy. I don't like good Triple H, never have. DDP, the first time I seen him was a match against PN News. What a fantastic match that was.
Yo baby yo.
Oh yeah, I much prefer a stripped down DDP version of just the little slime ball that he could portray, and the fact that he was a manager for years and people knew who he was, but they didn't think much of him as a wrestler. I'd love to see DDP go on, as far as the fact that, yeah, I think he could work 4 matches and make them all entertaining, but Triple H is a war horse, so he deserves to get everything he gets. Triple H was pretty much washed up on the shore when he arrived in WWF, and I mean, personally, I think if he didn't marry Stephanie, he still would be there. For me, it's the Triple H all the way.
Clarence, you're up.
This is a pretty quick one. It's got to be Triple H. I mean, you put all of the accolades behind you. When he came back from his quad back in 2001-ish with that denim jacket, like that's goosebumps. If that doesn't get you pumped up every time you watch it, something's wrong with you. I've never felt that way with DDP. Triple H, from everything he's doing, from the wrestling side to the backstage side to the younger talent side, and I mean, squashing all the WCW guys like Sting along his way. Why not? Triple H is going all the way.
So a little bit of history for me. So back in the day when Clarence was talking about Triple H coming back from that quad injury, the whole what the heck do the music that went along with the whole promo, the hype video, and this and that.
Beautiful Day.
Creed was it? Or no, it was
Beautiful
U2.
Day.
Yeah,
U2.
Creed was the next version of it. But fact is, I was hyped. The videos, all this sort of stuff. Knowing WrestleMania 18 was right around the corner in Toronto, I was stoked. Triple H comes back. He has that Madison Square Garden moment, It's like all of a sudden, is he going to be a face? Is he going to be heel? Because last time we saw him, it was Stephanie carrying him up the ramp. Fact is, WrestleMania 18, they had the show taking place before Access, and this is a throwback to Canadian television. It was a guy named Mike Bullard as the Mike Bullard Show. And anyways, Triple H was going to be a guest, and I remember going online and be like, how do I get tickets to the show? And it's like, all you do is basically let us know that you're going to be here, be one of the first in line. And I actually got to see Triple H on this show, and I was marking out on that Friday night. Saturday comes along, Access, Sunday WrestleMania. And it was tough to follow up Hulk Hogan and The Rock, but the fact is Triple H, that moment there, did as much as he possibly could. You look forward to the career that he's had, the championships he's won, the careers that he's made. DDP, legacy-wise, longevity-wise, hasn't been able to do that. You know what I mean? He has helped guys outside of the ring, but Triple H has had feuds with The Undertaker, The Rock, Mick Foley, all the way down to Roman Reigns. You know what I mean? Seth Rollins, this and that. Daniel Bryan, when he won his championship WrestleMania 30, Triple H was involved in that as well. So it's, to me, longevity-wise and honest to God, being a mark for the guy. Yeah, Triple H 4-0. Shawn, were you going DDP or Triple H on this one?
Well, I was a huge DDP fan, even when he was doing the cigar and hanging out with Max Muscle and the Diamond Doll. People may or may not know he was the one that drove the pink Cadillac at WrestleMania 6 with Rhythm and Blues to the ring because he had a car, and I think Dusty hooked him up with WD to bring his car and drive it through the Sky Dome with Rhythm and Blues to the ring. When they did that gimmick with him winning the lottery and getting out of the slum sort of and changed his character, it wasn't until he hit his feud with Savage that he actually started hitting his stride, and that's where I really started pulling for him. He was one of the only guys who did not join the NWO either when that was going on. He was one of the solid WCW guys, but then he hit WWE, and that whole stalker gig when he was stalking Sarah, the Undertaker's wife at the time, really was horrible. But as we've said numerous times, when we did King of Kings last week, Triple H did the curtain call. He got pushed down and punished for that, and he was supposed to win the 96 one, but he persevered. A year later, won King of the Ring. He had feuds of the year with Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan, matches of the year with Shawn and Benoit with the Triple Threat Mania 20. His match of the year with Undertaker, Hell in a Cell. He went for most hated wrestler a bunch of times, whether he was with the I want to say the
DX.
Stephanie, and not with DX. It was the corporation version.
The McMahon era.
Yeah. But then he was number one in PWI 500 in 2000 and 2009. King of the Ring winner, Royal Rumble winner. Like, there's so many things that he's done. And the number of championships, that in itself, because we're talking about championships and their title reigns and where they're positioned compared to other champions, Triple H has definitely a better title lineage than DDP, and so it's a 5-0 for Triple H. Our first one.
So first 5-0, we had a couple 4-1s, actually 3 4-1s, but first 5-0. So guys, that is first round for us. We've got Clarence Dusome on the line. Shawn, I'll get you to run down actually after I ask Clarence a few questions. Clarence, now obviously you're associated with MWW Midwestern Wrestling. It's saying that events happening now in not Alberta, but over there in Manitoba. Alberta's got one coming up, I think, this coming weekend. Any news right now on MWW as far as Ontario goes? Like, have you guys heard anything more than what the public knows right now?
Not any more than the public knows. I mean, this whole social circle thing, I've been trying to wrap my brain around how we can, have little social circles and have, 20 social circles of 10 different people. And it's a tough nut to crack, because if you do it and it's successful and nobody really minds, you'll still be vilified somewhere down the line.
So the one of the companies that out there in Canadian Wrestling's Elite, this guy by the name of Danny Warren actually performs as Hotshot Danny Duggan out there in Manitoba. They had run at Rookie Sports Bar over there, 100 fans limited in attendance. Haven't seen any footage yet, but is that something that you guys would think about doing? Is doing like 1/3 capacity? When you guys are able to do it?
We've thrown it back and forth with, if we have to do half the capacity, do we go to an arena where, half the capacity we can still put 400 or 500 people in, because we're not even close to the half of that capacity. If we ran the same spot we did last time, half the capacity, you'd be 150 people, where that place would look roomy, not really empty, but not full. We feel like we kind of hit the top with the last show in November, and we don't want to go back kind of half-assed. We want to do it right, do it big. We were talking today, actually, me and my partner Doug there, and we're thinking the first one we do coming back is going to be huge. You guys have all seen the title. It's hanging on my wall. It's got to go to somebody. But is that the title that's going to go to somebody, or is there another one being manufactured right now?
Feel like read between the lines on that one there.
All kinds of stuff.
It's all right. So last question for you, just before we head back, and then we'll do some more at the second intermission there. But how do you, as a company, between yourself and Doug, make up for the loss of income, so to speak? Because you guys and me and Shawn, as wrestling fans, Steve and Jonesy as well, we know that you guys can fill a house. Like, we saw it happen. Fans were happy, talent was happy, the atmosphere was just absolutely amazing at that first show. How do you guys make up for the loss of fans? So say, for example, you can only run 30% capacity. Do you charge fans more money? Do you try to make up for it on merch sales? Ideas between you and Doug, maybe on that one?
We don't want to raise any ticket prices. I mean, we've been to shows where, the tickets are $15 and it's great. We've been to shows that tickets are $50 and you don't get what's advertised, and it's just a debacle. So raising ticket prices, I mean, we can. We're not out as much as other promotions are. We don't have stuff sitting on the shelf that's going to expire. We don't have talent under contracts. Like, we don't have things that other promotions may or may not have. So it's a sit and wait. Hopefully, when we start getting back at her, the fans will come back in droves. With our commissioner, he just started a brand new foundation to help school programs and people in Listowel. So the names are always going out there. So the more we can put our name out, the better it is for everybody.
All right, very good. And we'll have more with Clarence, like I said, next intermission, just with some more with regards to Midwestern Wrestling. So first round is over with. Shawn, just as I'm bringing up the new bracket here, just want to go over some of the highlights and then basically just what we're looking forward to second round here.
Yeah, it started off interesting with us doing tiebreakers needed with some 3-2s. Then it got a little bit more easier with 4-1 victories. Then there was another need for a tie with the Sting and Styles match, and Triple H cleared things. Full sweep, our first one of the tournament. But that sets up round number 2, having Chris Jericho taking on Tanahashi. Harley Race going against Jerry Lawler in the Battle of the Kings, basically. Sergeant Slaughter against Bully Ray. And AJ Styles taking on Triple H. Some definite, really good matches that could happen in real life. Would have been nice to see, but we're comparing title reigns more so than actual competition for each other. And yeah, there's a lot of gold that's scattered around this tournament, and we'll see what happens.
All right, so second round, guys. We don't have to go too much into stats for this one because the first round, that's a lot of it came out. But Jones, you're up first here. Chris Jericho, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Who's your pick and why? Jones, you might be on mute. Check your mic.
I am on mute. Anyways, for me, it's Tanahashi. Again, 8 IWPG. He's going to be tough to beat. I do like Jericho as far as in a tournament like this, but who would I rather watch wrestle 4 times? It's Tanahashi. So I'm going with Tanahashi.
All right, Clarence, agree, disagree?
I'm gonna go with Jericho. I mean, yeah, I'm a big Jericho fan. I had to vote against him last round just because he was with The Undertaker. It's purely who you're going up against. You gotta take Chris Jericho. I'd watch him all day long.
So, 2-1 for Jericho because I'm voting for him as well. Simply put, I love Hiroshi Tanahashi, but the fact is, outside of New Japan, what can he accomplish? Where Jericho has been versatile. You think about his WCW run, his ECW run, his WWE, WWF run, all the way through to what he's doing now in AEW. And I know it hasn't been that much yet, but I can't wait to see some of the stuff that he's gonna do, and especially at his age too, because he's up there in his late 40s, all the way over to his New Japan stuff that he's done. Like he's fought, Tanahashi, and then he's fought Omega over there. He's and he knows how to work the character. So versatility is again experience. Like I said, Tanahashi, I love the guy, but the fact is, what can he do outside of New Japan Pro Wrestling, where we know what Chris Jericho has done his whole entire career and won championships all the way through his his career. So Jericho 2-1. Shawn, who's your pick?
Well, I'd like to say sayonara to Mr. Tanahashi because, Jericho, as much as he has reinvented himself, you look at all the titles that he's held all over the place, like first AEW champion, multi-time in WWE, even the IWGP. That's more than 8 IWGP heavyweight championships in itself. So
No.
comparing the two, I gotta go with Chris Jericho.
All right, Steven. So Tanahashi's out, but who was going to be your vote?
Tanahashi.
Yeah.
The 8 IWGP Heavyweight Championships.
New Japan is much better wrestling than North America.
I won't say that, but I would go Tanahashi, but
Steven's also holding AEW world title against Jericho as his
that's
stopping.
that
Had
is
he not held that title, then Jericho might have a shot against anything Steve's looking at.
That's the tiebreaker.
Anyway, we look at it. Jericho's advancing, so Tanahashi is out. Next round, Clarence, you're up. Battle of the Kings. King Harley Race taking on Jerry the King Lawler. Who's your pick?
Jerry the King Lawler. The amount of titles he held, the longevity of his whole career, and his feud with Jake the Snake Roberts tops it all. So I'm gonna Jerry Lawler.
All right, so I'm going opposite direction. This one,
Whoa,
Harley
whoa, whoa,
Race.
hold on a second.
No, hold on. You'll get your pick. You also get your talk time. This isn't the Stevens show.
It could be though.
Well, just because Clarence likes Maple Leaf Wrestling, Harley Race was a Maple Leaf heavyweight champion, an NWA Maple Leaf Wrestling champion.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to draw the line someplace. Anyways, before I was rudely interrupted by the jackass on the right-hand side of me on the screen here, not the guy in the middle, but the other guy. Anyways, yeah, I got to go Harley Race simply because of the fact the legacy just behind him. Jerry the King Lawler, when it comes down to it, yes, Memphis-based wrestling, but Harley Race was defending that championship all over the world. And to me, that matters more than Jerry the King Lawler and what he accomplished. So, Shawn, 1-1 right now. Who's your pick?
I am going Jerry the King Lawler as well because what? Okay, I'm going Jerry the King Lawler. Just too many titles to go with, and both of them could do Broadways, but I think entertaining wise was Lawler for me. Steven?
Sorry, what's the score? 2-1 right now?
2-1. Yeah, no, 2-1 Jerry Lawler.
Yeah, I'm going Harley Race. Don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Jerry the King Lawler fan, especially from Memphis. But I've seen way more Harley Race, NWA, and we all know I'm a huge sucker for that type of stuff. So I'm going Harley Race. Good luck, Jonesy.
Well, you know what? For taking out Tanahashi. No, for me, it's Harley Race. Jerry Lawler won very little titles, little baby titles from little companies, not big titles. It's Harley Race.
Well, that was easy. So anyways, next up, we got Sergeant Slaughter and Bully Ray.
That's a tough one.
Jeez. I got to go Sergeant Slaughter just because of the fact he's got 2 titles in 2 separate companies. I love Impact Wrestling, don't get me wrong. Kind of the opposite of Steven up there, who shits on AEW and Impact. But the fact is, like I said, Sergeant Slaughter, simply because of the fact he won titles in AWA as well as the WWE Championship. So 1-0 Slaughter right now. Shawn, you're up.
I'm going to agree with you and go with Slaughter advancing just more of an impact with what he held as far as his title reigns went in comparison to Bully Ray. If you were an Impact or TNA fan, yeah, you definitely knew about Bully Ray winning the title, but beyond that, it was hard to get past that little circle of fans in that regards. And Sergeant Slaughter, world renowned, what happened with his title reigns. So, yeah, I'm going Slaughter.
All right, Steven, you're up.
Well, I don't shit on AEW and Impact. I only shit on the stupid shit they do. Let's get that right. But I'm going Sergeant Slaughter. I think just overall better, more diverse championships. So I'm going Sarge, so he'll be moving on.
Jonesy?
It doesn't matter. But I would have gone with Bubba Ray only because, Bully Ray, because Slaughter's not going to have a chance against AJ Styles. So, but I understand Slaughter because even though he only won 1 belt, it was when Hogan was around and Warrior was around and he was their guy. That's a huge championship to have at that time for that transition is worth all the ones that AJ has had as far as WWF is concerned, because they give it out like candy now compared to back then. So Slaughter.
So your official pick was Slaughter as well?
Yebber.
All right, Clarence, to finish it off.
Sergeant Slaughter. Everything's being said. What more is there?
All right, so Shawn, tough one again. AJ Styles, Triple H. I get the tiebreak vote in this one, so it's I still haven't decided, so we'll have to wait and see if it gets to that far. What's Shawn, Triple H, AJ?
I honestly have to go with Triple H. We had so much that it's all right here about Triple H and his different accomplishments and all the titles and all the PWI things and King of the Rings. All of his title reigns are definitely known and seen. Once again, like Bully Ray, AJ's mostly from TNA era with his popularity and getting to the experience and carrying the company in that way. But, it was more known when AJ was carrying it, mind you, compared to Bully Ray. But, yeah, I think Triple H definitely comparing championship reigns, championship ability. There's more gold and prestige through Triple H.
The fuck are you on?
All right, Steven.
I'm picking AJ Styles. He's a 2-time IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. He's won championships in TNA, WWE, ROH. Did you just do that to the IWGP World? Fuck me. That's, other than WWE World Heavyweight Championship, that's probably the most prestigious heavyweight title, and that's just not given out like candy. That's given to like high-level people. I'm going AJ Styles because if I continue, I'm going to curse and swear. So, Jonesy.
It's easy. It's AJ Styles. Yeah, Triple H has had a great career, but it's been pretty much stuck in the WWF. AJ Styles is internationally seen, wrestled internationally. Hunter only through the WWF. And again, the IWPG to me, that's bigger than the WWF belt. WWF is the number one company. They are the best at what they do. But as far as a belt and to watch a match, I would pit New Japan over WWF matches almost every single time. It's pure wrestling there compared to the storyline crap that is over here in North America with great wrestling. It's AJ Styles.
All right, Clarence, you're up.
I don't know what's going on with those two. It's Triple H all day long, especially against AJ Styles. How old is AJ Styles?
44, I think, or something like that.
He's accomplished a lot, yes. But a lot of it's been in Impact. Triple H, he's consistent with his role in WWE. Ever since he first came in with that horrible gimmick and got squashed by the Ultimate Warrior, he has raised his level of performance. I would much rather sit and watch a Triple H match over and over and over again than an AJ Styles match over and over and over again. There's absolutely, when you take the two, there's no comparison. I'm not understanding what's going on in Toronto and Niagara Falls tonight, but
Well, you might as well add London to that list as well, because
are you kidding me?
no. So I tell you this. So I was a huge Impact Wrestling fan, basically from the day that they were doing the weekly pay-per-views. ROH, I mean, I went to any show I possibly could going up to Toronto. You know, you fast forward to the WWE and what he's accomplished there after being told he was too small, he was never going to make it. Vince McMahon wanted the bigger guys, didn't like the Daniel Bryans or the Samoa Joes or, you know, AJs or Sami Zayn's, Kevin Owens, Kevin Steen. Fact is, even when you look at the IWGP Championship, the historical value behind that, the guys who have held that title, when you think of AJ Styles and who he beat to get his titles, one was Kazuchika Okada, the other guy was Tanahashi. I mean, to me, two of the greatest names in New Japan Pro Wrestling history, and AJ Styles beat them both to have both of his championship reigns over there. The leader of the Bullet Club went to WWE to do what he did. Still doing what he does, and the fact is, I mean, highlight is basically the match he put on just a regular SmackDown against Daniel Bryan this past week, all the way back to his early Impact days. So the legacy of AJ Styles amongst different companies is what put him over for me. Triple H, the legacy of the WWE career, yes, he's pretty much untouchable. I mean, he's even over Austin and The Rock at this point. But the legacy of the championships AJ Styles has attained over different brands, and that's what it comes down to. So tough call. You hate Niagara Falls, Toronto, and London at this point, but the fact is, AJ Styles for the win in this one.
You guys put way too much weight on that IWGP championship.
Hey, piss off over there. All right, so once again, guys, we're with Clarence Dusome, Midwestern Wrestling, taking part of the show tonight. Clarence, thanks a lot. One of the questions I have for you is, and we had touched base on this past episodes of TNT, but I'll ask you this. So, two-part question. Number one, what new talent are you guys looking at this point as far as bringing in for Midwestern Wrestling? And I guess, what would you guys be satisfied with as far as a comeback date goes? Are we thinking early 2021, or are we thinking late 2020 at this point?
2021, that's a long ways away. We're still looking at 2020. I'm a firm believer, as is Doug, is when we can, we will. And hopefully when we build it, they will come. Because we've always wanted to put 5 shows on every year, which doesn't seem like a lot when you think about Smash and all the other guys. But I feel like the amount of stuff and effort and everything else that we put into our shows, we want to get at least one, if not a couple, before our November deadline. We always end in November, so before then, let's fingers crossed, hope and pray.
So, without mentioning names, have you guys talked to new talent?
Always. There's always new talent, established talent from bigger companies, talent from all around Ontario, Canada. There's a bunch of talent that I've been kind of going back and forth with that recently have left a fairly big kind of a King of Kings kind of organization that we chat with and try to see if we can sneak our tiny little wrestling company into their heads so that we can just do something crazy for the fans, especially this first one back. It's going to be big.
So I think Sean's got a question. I got one more for you, though. I know we were going to see, I think it was Tarek versus Tyson Dukes for the inaugural WWE Championship. Have plans changed as far as not necessarily the guys involved, but as far as how the championship's going to be decided?
No, I've always thought, and Doug as well, that's a great match. On paper, that's a great match. Orton and Edge was supposed to be a great match too. Hopefully this is a lot better than that. But yeah, that's still our, we wanted to do something. We didn't want to do a 4-way or something like that just kind of knocks the title You want two solid wrestlers. There's no good guy, bad guy, none of that stuff. It's solid wrestling. Just the better man will win.
Shawn, do you have a question for Clarence as well here?
No, I'm good. Great answers. Just looking forward to when that day comes. Different ideas, see how it works out. And as long as it's safe for fans to come, they definitely will come.
All right. So, Steven, do you want to just talk about highlights of the second round here, just while I'm bringing up the bracket?
Yeah, so we had what I would call a very interesting second round, just based on the matchups. I'd say these matchups were, at least for myself, some of them were a lot tougher. I mean, we saw Jericho go over Tanahashi, which surprised me a little bit. We then had Harley Race versus Jerry the King Lawler, which was a coin flip. I didn't really make my decision, and I'm sure a lot of us, was a very tough match. We saw Harley Race go over there. We then had Sergeant Slaughter versus Bully Ray, what was that? 4-1, 3-2? I don't even remember on that one. But that was what was that one?
Sarge was a clean sweep, I believe.
Yeah. So that surprised me. It was 5-0 in the second round, but Sarge went over there. And then AJ Styles beat Triple H, which I think Clarence's head just exploded when that happened. I mean, going into the semifinals, Jericho versus Race, Slaughter versus AJ Styles. I know who I'm picking, but it could go any which way at this point. It'd be very interesting to see where some people's heads at. So it'll be a very interesting second or semifinals.
And with saying that, you're up first. Jericho versus Harley Race.
Well, this was an easy one for me. I'm going Harley Race. The legacy of Harley Race outperforms anything Chris Jericho could and would do. Too many NWA world champions. Harley Race has won world championships all over the world. Harley Race in his prime was magic. He was world champion in his prime, so I'm going Harley Race. But I have a feeling, based on a few laughters, I might be outvoted really quick.
I was laughing at the fact of Shawn laughing. Just his laugh gets you.
Well, I know instantly why you disqualified Jericho, so it's just like, this was not a surprise you picked Race. It could have been Hornswoggle.
It's like fucking Tasha Blanchard all over again, I swear. Jones, Harley Race, Chris Jericho.
It's tough as far as I think I'd rather watch a Jericho match over a Harley Race match. However, since this is a representation of the best world champions, and we're sending a guy on to take all those other guys we know are in the other brackets, I'm going with Race for the pure factor that in his time, it was a lot tougher to be a wrestler. And his legacy is much bigger than Jericho's will ever be, because there's so many people out there like Chris Jericho that have been around over the years, but in Race's day, he was the elite. So for me, I think Jericho would even take the pinfall just so that Race could go on. So for me, it's Race.
Clarence, who you got over there?
Chris Jericho. Period. I'm not even gonna say anything else. Chris Jericho. And Sean's gonna vote for him too.
Sean's actually going to be the tiebreaker, whether or not he wants to be or not. I got to go with Jericho as well. As much as I love the fact that Jones had put out the fact that if you had one guy who was legacy, when you said NWA back in the day, it was Harley Race. But in saying that, yes, he had tougher competition and this and that. Guys like Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair, Terry Funk, Dory Funk Jr., guys like that. The thing is, with Chris Jericho, he's versatile. He can go anywhere, much the same as AJ Styles. Hasn't necessarily carried the championship or carried the brand the same way AJ has had to do at times. But the fact is, he is very similar to AJ. In saying that, you might want to see where my finals is going to end up, because I can tell you right now, hopefully it's AJ versus Chris Jericho. But Shawn, we'll have to wait and see if Jericho gets through. Harley Race, Chris Jericho, who's your pick?
Well, because of the theme of what's been going on this evening, I have 4 letters. IWGP. Since you guys put so much credit and weight on it, former IWGP heavyweight champion Chris Jericho is moving on to the finals.
Jericho has never won that title.
Which one did he have then?
Title champion.
I hate to do that on this show, but man, Jericho's never won the championship.
No, he won the
Which one did he have then?
champion.
He was he was IC title.
You must be thinking of the
No.
Impact title, because those two over there hold that up just as high as the other one.
So I will tell you this though.
It's still an IWGP championship.
Yeah, so Tetsuya Naito right now is double champion. So IWGP World Heavyweight Champion as well as IWGP Intercontinental Champion. So it's like that combined. It'd be like the Ultimate Warrior when he beat Hulk Hogan, keeping both belts and defending both belts. So and transition to New Japan Cup, the open weight tournament that's happening right now. The winner gets to face Naito for both of those titles. So yes, legacy wise, championship. I'm New Japan 150%. So I will never knock it. But unfortunately, Jericho never was.
Okay,
But
so not the heavyweight championship, but he did win the title over there.
he was
And
the IC champion.
you guys are putting so much weight on that promotion having held the belt from them.
That's just sour eggs, man. That's just sour eggs.
I was thinking
When
Jericho
Race,
either way.
when Race was around, New Japan was a baby. I mean, he didn't even have a chance.
But Sean's just playing by the same rules that you two have put into place. You guys hold this way up there, so
Well,
it came back to
but-
bite.
But that's the main championship.
Yeah.
All right, Jonesy. Here's your chance to
Jericho
get back.
moves on to the finals.
So is it Sergeant Slaughter or is it AJ Styles? New versus old.
Jonesy.
Sorry, to me? Oh, sorry. Slaughter or AJ? Oh, I go AJ. Just because, again, I'd rather watch AJ matches. He's like one of the best belt machines out there. I could sit and just have old TNA matches going on loop, and I would never get bored watching his matches.
All right, there you go. 1-0 AJ Styles. Clarence.
Sergeant Slaughter. When he won that belt as the Iraqi sympathizer, and the cultural changes that had to happen when that took place, AJ won the Impact title. Like, AJ wasn't even born when that shit happened. So Sergeant Slaughter all the way.
All right, so AJ might have won a couple more titles like the ROH, the IWGP Championship, the WWE Championship, the Intercontinental Championship, Impact Wrestling X Division Championship, the tag team. Anyways, but the fact is, I'm AJ Styles all the way.
Sergeant Slaughter is G.I. Joe.
All right, well, AJ Styles is Bullet Club. So, anyways, agree to disagree. But Shawn, 2-1 AJ Styles right now. You just sending Steven to the tiebreak, or are you going to end this right now?
I'm ending it right now. AJ is moving on to the finals.
Can I cancel
As much as Slaughter had some good runs, and that couple month run in WWE was monumental and newsworthy. Championship wise, AJ.
All right, Steven.
It was going to be AJ Styles. Too many championships, too much.
Mind you, AJ never burned a Hogan t-shirt in front of a live crowd.
I love that, but I'm going AJ.
If it came down to gimmicks, I'd have to give it to Slaughter for how he took it and where he went with it. AJ has never been able to really get a gimmick over. His natural ability in the ring is absolutely phenomenal. But Slaughter, I mean, he took it to another level. It's when you talk about, Shawn was talking about earlier about the fact that when they had to switch the WrestleMania 7 arena there, I think conspiracy, but the fact is, I think it came down to open concept. The fact is, if they're going to attack Sergeant Slaughter, they had full out view as opposed to an arena, so it's interesting.
Bruce Pritchard said that they had to change from the open air. The LA people basically said, if you don't, then you can't run the event here because it's too dangerous.
All right, so Clarence, outside of Midwestern wrestling, what have you been occupied with as far as watching wrestling on TV since COVID's taken place? Anything caught your attention?
I've been watching the Undertaker special, The Last Ride there. That is the most intriguing thing on the WWE network right now. $9.99 a month, first month free. And
in the U.S.
Huh?
In the U.S.
I get it here for $9.99 a month.
They must like you because I'm paying $14.99 a month.
We also run computer stores, so we have ways. That's I've been going back and kind of preparing what Midwestern Wrestling is thinking about doing for their next show. I've been going back and watching some of the old school Royal Rumbles, and just trying to get some tips and tricks and stuff like that, just in case something were to come up where you had a bunch of people in a ring for one of our shows, just so I knew what to, as a promoter, so I knew what to do. But,
anything other than the Undertaker stuff you've been watching? Did you catch Backlash or anything last night?
I watched the Edge and Randy match. It sucks that Edge got hurt, but they also pre-taped it, which, I mean, everything is pre-taped these days, but the fact that they blatantly come out and tell you it is kind of pissed me off a bit, because they harp so much live, and then the next morning you're like, oh, that was pre-taped. Oh, that's great.
Apparently, that match and the Street Profits Viking Raiders stuff were the only things that were taped. Everything else was live last night.
Yeah. I feel like they're trying to tuck themselves in a little bubble where, that Edge, that didn't quite go the way we want. We can refilm it. We can, you know what I mean? It's not authentic. It's not genuine. It's because it's pre-taped. I have to say, Randy Orton is phenomenal. The little things he did last night, like when he beat Edge and just whispered that in his ear, or when he was on the table and Orton just kind of said I'm gonna fucking kill you. Like, just the little things like that. Orton is one of the greatest heels. Should be on this list, but
yeah, he is in the so like I said, we got tournament of 64. He is part of the tournament, just not on this list. And actually, I'll let you know, he's fighting John Cena first round. Not sure which bracket he's in, but it'll be interesting there. You talk about the ultimate babyface versus the ultimate villain as far as WWE goes, and you've got both of those guys right there. But it'll be interesting. We'll do some plugs right after the finals here.
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Steven.
For Clarence, other than your World Heavyweight Champion, are you thinking of doing a tag team, or are you going to kind of stick for the next foreseeable future as just a world champion?
For right now, we might just stick to just the MWW Championship. We're talking about a cruiserweight kind of title, but there's not a lot of guys that fit that mold. But tag team titles, there might be something in the works. We're pretty big on some of the tag teams we're coming in. Death. The guys from the States, they were at the Smash Fanshawe show.
I think I knew they went against Halal Beefcake.
Yeah, who are they?
It's been too long. Yeah, I know who you're talking about, though.
No, I was thinking of a team that me and Shawn saw.
Fair Country?
Yes.
With like Tommy Vendetta. I think it's the death. Now you're gonna bug me about it. But
No, we're giving you an idea of a tag team that we saw that.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, Bear Country.
I am. We're one of those guys. Like, if you have ideas, if you have guys that you like, we can't be everywhere. I mean, shit, we sure try. Like, we went to Sarnia, to Barrie, to Burlington, Detroit, Fanshawe. Like, we try to go as many places as we can. We all have lives. We all have kids. Kind of hard once in a while. Thankfully, my little girl fucking loves wrestling. I say Tyson Duke. She says, pick me up. Let's go. So.
That was the first time, at least me and Shawn have seen them, and they were quite
impressive.
Yeah.
It's called, I was right, Death Threat Army.
Yeah, that's the ones from Detroit that were at Fanshawe College.
They are crazy good. And they held their own with Hala Beefcake. There's a lot of tag teams that we want. Like, we want to get Von Vertigo and
Fuerza
partner back together and be a tag team. They also like to wrestle each other. So you have to do what we want to do as a promotion, but keep them happy as well. But there's lots of tag teams. There's some tag teams that, could have been formed at a previous show that might make a return.
Very interesting. But see, this is the stuff when you get talking about independent wrestling, why you want to see it back on the map so much. And like I said earlier, Midwestern wrestling there was just a genuine good feeling about it. I mean, the amount of shows that we've seen Smash Wrestling based, but the fact is you had those entities, but you still had that Midwestern feel to it, you know what I mean, which made it your own show. So I know I was hyped for the second show that you guys had coming up, but
Toronto.
Very interested to see what you guys got coming up next. So we'll finish the tournament and then we'll talk a little bit more with Clarence here. But where are we at? So Clarence, actually, you're up first. So basically, I know it's maybe a guy that you love against a guy that you can't stand, but Chris Jericho, AJ Styles, who takes the first round in this, the first part of the tournament in this one.
I'm gonna feel like a hypocrite if I turn the other cheek here. I'm gonna have to stick with Warfare is Jericho. It's got to be Chris Jericho.
All right, so I've got somebody I've marked out for since the time I pretty much saw him in WCW versus a guy who I said can accomplish pretty much anything, anywhere he goes. Yeah, this is a tough call. Honestly, I want to pass on this one. But
nice try.
Jesus,
it's tough.
Longevity wise, I got to go with Jericho. I got to go Jericho simply because of what Shawn had mentioned. I completely forgot about. I know he wasn't IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, but the fact is he's still going strong. He former AEW champion, and regardless of anything at all, he still was a champion in 2019, 2020. You know what I mean? And he was still a champion back in 2001 for WWF. So, and yeah, toss up. What I gotta go Jericho. So 2-0 Jericho. Shawn.
This would be an amazing match to see happen, especially both of them in their primes. But not every company has put their stock on the back of AJ Styles like people have put their company on the back of Chris Jericho. So Chris Jericho is our winner, regardless of what Steven and Chris say. And that was my pick all the way from the beginning.
Steven shaking his head.
What is this, WCW booking?
Steven, obviously you're going to go with Styles, but why?
His two, honestly, IWGP World Heavyweight Championships outrank IWGP Intercontinental Champion. And he actually, other than AEW, everywhere AJ Styles has gone, he has put the company on his back and taken their world championship to the next level. Whether it's TNA, ROH, WWE, New Japan, but I'm very surprised.
I want to see how much my vote really mattered. Jones, who are we going to pick?
You were the tiebreaker because Jonesy, I guarantee, is going. I would go with
AJ. Again, he's the better wrestler. Jericho, yeah, he's entertaining and all, but as far as pure wrestling, I'm telling you, AJ is 10 times the wrestler that Jericho could be. Jericho has a set moves. AJ likes to stir it up. To me, AJ is similar to a Sting. And when it comes to tournaments, Sting would beat Flair. And Jericho is a Flair to me when you break it down. To me, Jericho never was world championship material. I remember at Skydome, WrestleMania 18, it wasn't just because it was Rock and Hogan earlier, but a lot of people left because it was Jericho and Triple H in the ring. Snorville. I'm sorry. AJ is just, this is supposed to be the best champions, the best wrestlers, and AJ is one of the best. But Jericho wins. Yay! Because I like Slimeball Jericho. I like WCW Jericho, not the one now.
All right, personality-wise, who you go with, AJ Styles or Jericho? That should be hands down.
Jericho.
See, that's what does it for me right there.
Jericho.
But as far as watching wrestling,
Jericho.
They both have put on phenomenal matches, and that's not using AJ's nickname lightly. Like, either one, if I only had to be locked in a room and they put on one of their matches constantly, I'd be okay. Just, I'm going with Jericho.
And Steven, the last for you, personality-wise, Jericho, AJ.
Which Jericho are we talking about, though?
Who's gonna sell more tickets?
Jericho.
If it's in their prime, Jericho. Jericho could talk anyone into the building.
But who's the better wrestler?
AJ Styles.
Yeah, see, that's what it comes down to.
If you watch his ROH, you like it's intense. Even on Friday, I could watch an AJ Styles match over Chris Jericho in the last probably 5 years. I just find Jericho is not who he was. In his prime, don't get me wrong, Jericho could go and he could talk. He had the full package. But if you're asking me the better world champion, I'm picking AJ Styles because he has worn and, like I just said, took the world championship of the companies to the next level.
There we go, guys.
Jericho never did that.
Oh, I'm just saying more variety of world championships, world heavyweight championships. He's taken to the next level. Jericho, WWE.
Placeholder.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I think Jericho took it to the next level, but I'm saying AJ Styles took more collective heavyweight championships to the next level.
And just the WrestleMania 18, the only reason people left the building and the only reason that match didn't live up to what it should be is because of bad booking. Period. That's it.
100% agree with that.
No, if I would have stayed if I knew it was going to be a good match, but it was Jericho and Triple H at that time.
One guy that makes the decision said the title match is always the last match on the card. It shouldn't have been. Hogan
Agreed.
and The Rock should have been the main event, which would have made the Triple H and Chris Jericho match that much better. And that was a hell of a match. There was just no crowd involvement because the crowd was dead. The crowd hyped up.
The crowd was leaving.
All right, so Clarence, social media plugs for Midwestern Wrestling, as well as anything new on the horizon as far as what fans can. Here's a question for you, and my wife and I were talking about this, and I've been talking about it with a few people there. What do you do as far as merchandise goes? Because I'll tell you this. So the setup that we had, myself and Shawn next to the merch table where the signing the autographs and stuff like that was absolutely tremendous. The fan interaction, Jordan James being the nutbar that he actually was, it's pretty cool. Watching the fans in front of us and everything else. But are we going to see something different? I mean, do you guys any idea whether or not it comes down to Ontario legislation or whether or not it comes down to basically you guys as promoters, what you're going to allow? Like, it's going to be, you have 50 pictures that are signed by, say, Hello Beefcake, put it on a table. They aren't actually present, but you can still buy their merch. Like, have you guys talked about any of that as far as merch sales and autograph signings and this and that goes?
I mean, the whole business is going to change. There's nothing anybody can do about that. Scott Hunter, he was on your guys' show, and he said it best. Like, it's not up to us. It's up to the people that may never watch a wrestling, like an indie show, that are going to make the rules.
But you can bend them.
You can't even bend them.
Oh, you can bend them.
You can, but why risk getting, not being allowed back in that venue? The fans not liking the fact that you're bending the rules for them. And
you stay within the rules, but you also have to know what the rules are so that you can work around it. Just because there's no smoking in that area doesn't mean there's actually no smoking in that area. You have to look at the rules. That's why there's a lot of leeway. It's just which way is the right way to go. That's going to be the best.
Leeway with this stuff.
There's no leeway.
Yeah, there is. There's lots of leeway.
These are the rules. You can obey. You can go with the rules and do what they're asking you to do, or you can risk a whole lot in trying to bend the rules that you really have to bend them.
If a rule needs to be bended so it's better for the event, then that's what you do. I've bent a lot of rules doing shows, and it can be done, especially if you know what the rules are, because it's interpretation. Just because the person that comes to your event and says, "Oh no, that's not allowed," you got to know that that's actually truth, because they will tell you a bunch of bullshit that's based on their opinion, but not actually the law. That's why I always study the law that municipalities have to make sure I know what I'm getting into, and I usually get my way.
All right, so we'll leave it at that, because it's this could be live on air as far as TNT goes. But what's that?
we could go on about all this for hours.
Well, I know, but that's one of the things. Like, I'm glad it kind of came up, because the fact is, when you think about it, perception as a fan, the last time you went to an independent event, and myself, I think it was Smash Wrestling, might have been at that fan show actually. And
the guy ran in the ring.
Yeah, that one there. But the fact is, you were there, you were interacting with fans, you were interacting with Scott Hunter, yourself. Everything was the way it was. And the reality is how does wrestling come back independently? Because right now, Monday Night Raw is on, you're watching plexiglass, you know what I mean? New Japan's about to have fans in July. You're going to be seeing a lot of guys sitting around, social distancing, 6 feet apart with masks and everything else. So it is interesting. I am glad to hear that you and Doug have been talking about this and what to do, and you had mentioned the arena and stuff like that. But it's
always a topic of conversation. If not between me and Doug, definitely in my house. I know him and Trish are always talking about it. I'm always talking about it with my partner at work. And honestly, just the last show was in November. We have people, they stop me in Tim Hortons, in Wingham here. They stop me in Listowel. I get people that stop by the store and just poke their head in, like, any update? Like, we want tickets, any update? Like, and people are still, like, in Listowel, they're still talking about the show, which that is the biggest pat on the back.
Yeah, and the fact is they're craving more.
Yeah.
I mean, people are, and no disrespect to Smash, but the fact is, I'm looking forward to the next Midwestern show as much as I am the next Smash show. It's simply put, it's independent wrestling in our area where we get to go see Tyson Dukes and guys like Tarek and tag teams like Hello Beefcake and it's the aspect. It's going to be very interesting to see when you guys come back, to see what kind of setup it's going to be, and to see what kind of fan interaction and how they appreciate or depreciate the fact that they have to follow a certain set of rules, and this and that. But
I would love to be able to wait until there's a time where we can just go back to 400 people and just have a good time. That's not going to happen anymore. There's got to be rules in place. And there's got to be some kind of social distancing. So it's every day you start learning something new that we're going to have to agree with or not run, one or the other.
I think Steven's got a question just before we do some plugs here.
I have 2 points. If I find a promotion or a business that's not following the rules that the government sent out, I won't support them. But a point to why I think Midwestern stood out was it wasn't your typical Ontario independent wrestling. The setup you guys had made it feel big time. Yeah, I was there. Like I said, I was coming from Toronto to come see your second show in November. When was it? I forget when.
The second show was in March.
Yeah, the one in March. Sorry, because we were talking. I was coming from Toronto because you made such I lived in London at the first one. You made such an impression on that first show that I was going to make the trip to London and then go to see your show and come all the way back because you guys did it right.
And that was kind of the kickoff.
Yeah.
That was if we just tried this, then next time we can try this, then this. So the one beauty thing with this whole COVID-19 and all that, not that it's beautiful at all, is we've been able to step back and look at things, look at the layouts of the venues, look at the schematics of how things are set up, and kind of think, well, what if we built this to sit over here for this and that and the other. So it's going to be bigger. It's going to be better. And I mean, the fact you guys are still talking about it just brings a huge smile to my face. So
We're marks.
yeah.
So we're marks with a wrestling show on a podcast on YouTube or whatever the case may be. But it's been enjoyable. Hopefully, maybe in a month or so we get you back on. Just do the final four there, Clarence. I was going to say you could vote against AJ Styles, but he didn't make it through. So Jericho versus we'll have to wait and see what happens. Guys, you can see the social media links for Midwestern Wrestling there. Facebook, you simply search term Midwestern Wrestling. Twitter is @WrestlingMid. Instagram is @Midwestern Wrestling 2019. And probably the best ways to get in touch with you guys is through social media.
Yeah, shoot us a Facebook message, Instagram message. The other, I want to throw one more plug out because it's a brand new thing. Chris Kurtz, our commissioner of Midwestern Wrestling, he owns a gym in Listowel. With all this stuff going on, he just started the Chris Kurtz Foundation to keep his legacy going. So I just. If anybody wants to learn more about it or contact him and just ask some questions, you can find him on Facebook under Chris Kurtz or the Chris Kurtz Foundation.
All right, very good. And guys, this is... Oh, sorry.
And these guys.
And Hammerlock.
And Hammerlock, yes.
The most comfortable shirts you will ever wear.
Tyson Dukes.
Yes. HammerlockApparel.com.
All right, very good. Guys, thanks for doing this. This has been the very first episode of the Greatest World Champions North Bracket. We'll be back next week with South Bracket. And then, like I said, we got 48 more competitors to be part of this tournament. So to Shawn, to Steven, to Jonesy, to Clarence, and on behalf of Midwestern Wrestling, thank you very much, guys, for being part of this. And we will see you all next time, okay?
See ya.
Have a good one.
Toodles!
Thank you.